The Suchate River, here along the Mexico-Guatemalan border, is the gateway north for many. By early morning, rafts start carrying people across. Once on the Mexican side, they're a step closer to the U.S. Enrique Peña left Honduras because of rampant gang violence. He's 15 and traveling on his own with nothing but the clothes in this plastic bag.
Despite the fact it may not dominate the nightly headlines as before, the American immigration issue remains just as hot and relevant as ever. And when the Guatemala Foreign Affairs Minister told the United Nations General Assembly recently that child migration to America from his country was, quote, neither a sin nor a crime, unquote, activists on both sides of the issue took notice and made it a flashpoint in the discussion. So what is the reality on the ground in such countries? Let's welcome back to MidPoint our man on a suitcase, author of historical fiction thrillers and foreign correspondent. Todd Wood joins us from Guatemala. Todd, it's good to see you.
Oh, it's good to be back. Thanks a lot.
Todd, what is the feeling like there in Guatemala right now? Because, again, the foreign minister comes out and says that they're not criminals, yet we hear that the governments there are saying to America, if you want help, you better pay us. We need the money. It's the only way that we're going to get it done. There's nothing we can do unless America helps us right here at the core of where this all begins.
Well, Ed, I think you're exactly right. And I really think what's going on here is that the Obama administration has made a concerted effort to get this off the front page. If you even Google the story, there hasn't been an article from the mainstream media on this issue in the last several months. So I think there's a behind-the-scenes effort to take this off the front page prior to the election. And it's definitely quieted down here. You have the number of children trying to cross the border has slowed, but in the background, I think you have an effort by the Obama administration to actually send American planes here and fly them to the United States as refugees. And I think after the election, you could very well see them granted refugee status.
As we're led to believe, is there a concerted effort by the Guatemalan government to tell their people, don't go to America? Or in your opinion, from what you see on the ground there, is it more of don't go to America, nod and a wink?
I think it's nod and a wink and just wait a few months. And the other huge story, which hasn't gotten a lot of press, frankly, is the D68 virus, which has killed 5 young American children, which the prevalence of this virus, which was not in the past very, seen very much in the United States, has ramped up significantly in the cities where these immigrant children have been placed. So that's a whole nother issue about protecting the border and about protecting Americans that we're not seeing from this administration.
Is it almost, for instance, a blackmail situation, if you will, coming from not only Guatemala, but from other Southern American leaders as well, who say that, sure, we'll be happy to help America in this, but you've got to give us money or we basically throw up our hands?
Oh, that's exactly what's going on, and I expect they will get funds. You've already seen talk from the administration about millions of dollars being forwarded to these governments to try and handle the crisis. But I do believe that they just want it off the front page. They don't want it. This is bad press for them prior to the election. It was causing it caused his ratings to plummet significantly among other scandals. And I just don't think they want this out there until after November.
What do they say on the front pages in Guatemala, and what are they saying on the television stations down there as well? Does this ever come up, or and I have some people who've told me, oh yeah, don't worry about it, it's down here, but basically it's just get ready to go, that there's nothing really there that says this is a bad idea. This basically says the President of the United States is our friend, the United States is our friend, and this is where you're going to wind up. I mean, what's the reality of what's being said to the people there from the government?
Well, there's what's being said officially, and as always in Central America, that's what's being said under the table. And they're being told, sure, go to America. I mean, there's no official program to try and slow this crisis. I mean, child sex slavery is a huge problem here, and if they can, get them to America where they won't have to be caught up in the gangs or whatever, I think they would like to do that.
From what you can see on the ground, does the government there really do enough to tamp down the gang issue and also to get a handle on the child sex slavery issue, or do they simply just, again, give it pretty much lip service?
I think it's pretty much lip service, Ed. I mean, you do see the occasional button in a restaurant saying, I'm against child slavery, but as far as clamping down on the gang activity, that is not happening here. I mean, the crime here is rampant. There's parts of Guatemala City you don't want to go in, just as any other city in Latin America or in the U.S. for that matter. But it is a violent city, and they've got their hands full dealing with that. And I think child slavery and child sex trafficking and children coming to the border is just one of many problems and won't get the kind of resources it needs to effectively deal with it.
All right, now hang on and stick with that note right there, because we'll talk about that in just a moment after the break. The reality of the gang issue in Guatemala and how much of that is actually fueling what happens here in America. And later on this hour, why one pop song is forbidden for airplay in one American city. It's a World Series issue.